Up next, we have the talented Shushka Kushnik, and we're going to be hearing about a purpose-built approach to scaling businesses for impact. And I'm looking forward to hearing this pitch, and I welcome Shushka to our stage.
Great. Thank you so much. So after a little bit of technical glitches at my end, I'm here now, and thanks for all your patience. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone across the various time zones. I'm really honored to be part of this panel and part of these discussions. Happy to share with you what we do at Avishkar Capital back in India. So who are we? We are a purpose-built venture capital early stage investor in the space of impact. Next slide, please. So we started with a simple mission. We were looking out for entrepreneurs who could solve for complex social problems. How to make India cleaner, how to increase farmer income, how to take jobs to where people live. Next slide, please. And that's when we truly believed that capital could be the catalyst to solve for these large, complex social problems with entrepreneurs at the crux of it all. Next slide, please. I'll walk you through a couple of case studies to make it clear what we exactly do and what we invest in. So one of the biggest challenges we face in India, and not just in India, globally as well, is waste. So the kind of waste our countries are generating is enormous. India alone is expecting a generation of about 500 million metric tons by 2050. Just to put things in perspective, it is close to 5 million blue whale. That's the size of waste we will be generating in our country alone. And if we don't recognize it and solve for it, it's going to be a looming problem. So what did we do for a problem like this? Next slide, please. So we went around looking for entrepreneurs who could convert waste to wealth. And back in 2013, we identified a very small startup called Nepra, who was working with rag pickers in trying to formalize the waste management system. At that point in time, they were small. They were close to 10 metric tons per day. But we wanted to solve a larger problem. Clearly, a 10 metric ton solution is not a solution for a problem we are going to be facing soon. So what did we do? Next slide, please. So we tried to leverage technology to bring in mechanization to ensure a 10x scale. And today, we're very proud to say that Nepra is now one of India's largest dry waste management company, managing close to 400 metric tons per day, which is still very small in the overall scheme of things. But the plan is to grow 10x in the next 5 years. And in case is about sanitation problems. The sanitation problem in India is one of the largest that we face. 1 in every 6 urban Indian lives in a slum. Can I request the next slide? So, close to 50 million men and women defecate even today in open spaces due to lack of infrastructure, lack of clean water, lack of proper drainage. And the problem, the economic problem of something like this leads to, because of contamination and has severe health issues, is close to $32.5 billion in a country like ours. So what do we do? How do we solve for this problem? Next slide. So we went around looking for entrepreneurs who could solve for such a large problem. And we tried to improve the living standards of communities. So we identified an entrepreneur in a startup called Altum Credo, which is an affordable housing finance company, which works very closely with the economically weaker section and the low-income group communities in Tier 2, Tier 3 peri-urban cities and towns to improve their living conditions, to help provide in situ toilets and clean drinking water. So if you see in the photograph, it's visible the kind of living spaces they were in previously and what they could get into later. And this has second order impacts of far bigger magnitude in terms of impact. Next slide. However, it was not enough that they do something at a small scale. We were thinking of how to take it large. And with the help of technology, the company has been able to scale profitably, servicing close to 1,500 first home buyers to get into their first homes with their own toilets and clean drinking water. And for many of them, for a first time, tap water, running tap water. And this is an $8 billion problem that we are facing in a country like ours. This company want to able to grow to the next problem that we face in our country, and that's the magnitude of solution that entrepreneurs can solve for. Next slide. So who are we? We are a group who exists to bridge the opportunity gap for the next 3 billion. So we as a group have multiple entities within the group structure, which is Avishkar Capital, which is in the fund business. We have Arohan and Ashwa, which are in the lending businesses to provide debt for this segment. And we have Knowledge Partner in IntelliCap. Next slide, please. Across the group, we manage $2 billion of impact assets. And we have a large number of supporters who have been supporting Avishkar through this journey. Next slide. So Avishkar Capital is currently managing close to 6 funds with an asset under management of close to $400 million. We are an India-focused fund with also funds operating in South Asia, as well as we are entering East Africa now, because the problems that these geographies face are very similar to the ones we have seen in India. We've been investing for over 20 years now, and we have completed about 70 odd investments, completed 32 odd exits, both full and partial. So it's important to highlight that you can make financial returns while focusing on deep impact. We meet 13 of the 17 SDGs that have been set out, and we are now going to be raising a next fund to solve for bigger problems going forward. Next slide. So Avishkar as a group, Avishkar Capital as a fund, and all our investee companies have been recognized both at a national level as well as internationally on several global platforms. Next slide. Our investment strategy is simple. It's to identify entrepreneurs who think big, who dare to do big in the areas of financial inclusion, sustainable agriculture, and circular economy. These are some of our portfolio companies. Next slide. I mentioned that we meet all the SDG requirements. 13 out of the 17 SDGs are being met by our portfolio companies. 100% of the companies, Avishkar is the first institutional investor, so we bring about governance in these institutions as well as to make them more formal. 100% of the companies are started by first-generation entrepreneurs. We have impacted over 100 million beneficiaries over the period of time, created close to 310,000 jobs. That's it from me. We've supporters from DFIs, corporates, and large pension and insurance funds. And the ask to you guys today is, if you are interested in investing in and supporting large, complex problems, we'll be happy to partner with you.
Thank you so much,